Hey guys, it's me, the dude who talks, and welcome. So for today, I'm going to be talking about the new album from Electric Haze called Get In Line, which is coming out on the 28th of May through Idle North Records. So, Electric Haze came to creation in 2014 when two friends made the move to Umeå in Sweden, and then they met two brothers there and they instantly hit it off, wrote a few songs, and then took those songs to the live circuit in Umeå. Now, for introduction's sake, Electric Haze consists of Anton Ekström on vocals, Johan Andersson on drums, Andre Ekström on bass guitar, and Tommy Teurer on guitar. Now, apologies if I got any of those pronunciations wrong. So, the question being, what did I think of Get In Line? Did I like it, or will I be sending Electric Haze a bill for wasted electricity? Let's find out. So, for the people who want to know, Get In Line consists of 9 songs and clocks in at 36 minutes. So to give you an insight of what this album is about, I'm going to pick 4 songs from Get In Line and talk about them. So I figured I'll start with the opening track called Succubus, which is based on an old belief that a female demon visits the dreams of men and has their way with them against their will. So the start of this song hits the ground running. It's got that guitar riff that's in the vein of like bands like AC/DC and Whitesnake, so it's got that hard rock / classic rock vibe. It feels catchy, it feels upbeat. Also, this is more apparent with the catchiness with the vocalist Anton coming in, and it's definitely in the vein of that classic rock vibe, especially with his vocal delivery. And especially when you're listening to the song, it has like such a big feel to it with the choruses and verses. It feels like you're watching it at like a stadium gig, and with that I can tell these guys are aiming big with this album. So the next song I want to talk about is the following song, which is called Whoa, which is in all caps, which is the definition of catchy. There's this bit of a woodblock instrument used at the start. There's also that faded out guitar riff that gets louder, and there's a woo, and that's when you know the song has started. It could have easily been on a Def Leppard album, this song. The riff is instantly catchy, but what really drives it is the chorus, which will make the most miserable of people sing along to it, like me. Also, it sees Anton have a bit more range on his vocals, hitting the highs and going for that high-pitched scream. And the more I listened to it, it felt like with its upbeatness, it could have easily fit in one of those like teen soundtracks in the early 2000s, you know, that like American Pie films like that. So from these tracks, it gives off the impression this album is very upbeat and energetic, and songs like Get In Line and All I Ask do a really good job of keeping up that momentum. But the next song I want to talk about does something very different. It's a ballad. It's called Cavern of Pain and opens up with this like reverse effect, and then this nice Spanish acoustic guitar comes in, and also keys take charge on the song. It has a very somber tone and feels like when I was listening to it, it came straight from the heart, and that's a good thing. Also, it's like it starts off in the vocal delivery that very soft sounding, and then when it comes to the chorus, there's some real power in his voice when he sings, and that is a ballad that is done right. And if you know me, I do love a good ballad. The next song I want to talk about is called Too Close to the Truth, which for me had a bit of a modern feel to it, and in places it reminded me of like bands like Velvet Revolver, and I couldn't help drawing comparisons to them, especially in the choruses with the vocals that reminded me a bit of like Scott Weiland. Although he also channels a little bit of Dio in here as well with the screams in this song. And also, talking about Dio and that edging towards the metal side of things, the riff in there feels a bit like heavier as well, but still having that catchiness to just, you know, hook you in. So, what about the rest of the album? So, lest we forget, it feels like the fastest song on the album, feels like they sped up an AC/DC song to great results. The album Closer for Me, called Crying, brings back the Velvet Revolver comparisons. It reminded me of like Fall to Pieces. It has that slower ballad like pace, but still felt quite heavy with this like distorted riff that gave it a bit of a kick. One thing I will say about the album as a whole is the production. It is top notch in my opinion. It helps give that songs that epic feel, like this could actually be destined for arenas if we ever get live music back. Do I have any nitpicks on this album? Well, yeah, I do. It's nothing against the band or the actual album itself, but I do genuinely feel on a couple of songs, like for example, like Whoa, I feel like it sticks a bit too close to the blueprint of like classic rock. It feels like they're just like copying their notes rather than just like, having a bit of a nod to like artists like AC/DC and Whitesnake. While thinking about this definitely seems harsh, and it's not a nod to the or a criticism to the band itself. As you know, like bands like Airborne have been accused, well, not accused, but been noted to being like sounding exactly like AC/DC, or more recently, like Greta Van Fleet was like been noted like as sounding exactly like Led Zeppelin. But I feel like if you get past that, this album is exactly what it wants to be, and that is a fun album. So, my overall verdict on this album, well, and I will be honest here, was I was expecting to really hate this album because it was not something that I would listen to day in, day out. But the more I listened to it, the more I ended up really enjoying it. For me, it was essentially a palate cleanser, and it was a breath of fresh air for my rigid post metal, sludge, doom, crust, whatever metal ways. And I'm really hoping that this album and this band pick up where Jet and the Donners left off like 10 or 20 years ago. It is essentially a fun album, and I think you should check it out. So that was me talking about Get in Line by Electric Haze. Are you thinking of picking this up when it comes out? Please let me know if you are down below in the comment section. Like always, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It really helps out. Also, I just want to quickly plug my socials as well. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, so I'll be including links to there should you want to give that a like or a follow. Yet again, greatly appreciated. So that is it for me. I've been the dude who talks. You guys, as always, are fucking awesome. Thank you so much for listening. Cheers.